Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, today we have a leak video, and it is perhaps the mother of all leaks. So what happened is someone happened to get into the GeForce Now database, and that has a lot of games in it, including unreleased games. So for the particulars of how they managed to get into the database, I'll put that in the video description. A few things to note before we directly get into it. So this being a database leak, there's no is this fake or not, it's all as real gets. However, due to the nature of marketing, due to the nature of, biz dev, all that kind of stuff, things can change, right? Sometimes the title might be a placeholder. Sometimes maybe for a project that got changed or canceled and is still in the database. So there are varying factors that could lead to the fact, even though the name's there, for whatever reason, the game won't come out or things change. And for certain things you might think are weird, like why is Super Mario on this PC game list? Keep in mind that Super Mario for Wii actually came out in China for the NVIDIA Shield. So there is actual business relationships, all that kind of stuff. The list itself, even though the leak is very new, the database, the last update was 6 months ago. So we'll talk about it later, but in the plans change category, just so you know, not everything is final, right? Now, we are a primarily fighting game channel here, so we're going to talk the fighting game stuff first. Although there's a lot of juicy stuff there, and I love video games in general, right? So after we talk the fighting game stuff, I do want to talk some of the other stuff. So for fighting games proper, what's in the leak? Well, let's start with the biggest non-surprise of them all, Street Fighter 6. Now, we've known about Street Fighter 6 for a very long time at this point, and we know there's been some hiccups in the development. Street Fighter 6 was kind of supposed to be out by now, right? It'll probably be out sometime next year, though, at the current rate. But yeah, so Street Fighter 6 is in the database. Not much to be said. We already knew it existed, even if there's no official talk about it yet. At some point in the future, we'll know more, and it'll be officially announced. But for now, it's in the database. But once again, it's not really a shocker. Now, keeping up with leaks that aren't really a surprise, hey, Tekken 8. Now, Tekken 8, hey, this is really the first we're hearing of it, but is it shocking in any way? No, of course not. Tekken 7 did well in every possible business metric you could ever think of. And obviously, there would be a Tekken 8, right? So the Tekken franchise will continue on. When would this be announced? Where will this be announced? Who knows, right? That isn't really covered in the confines of this leak, other than at some point, someone at Bandai Namco said, hey, Tekken 8, let's do it. And so somewhere, some way, it's moving along. We probably won't hear about it for a good while yet, I'm betting. But once again, of course, there was going to be a Tekken 8. Now, moving on to the NetherRealm front. So I think this is a good case of this leak here of plans can change despite what's in the database. Because what's in the database, we have Injustice 3, Gods Will Fall. Now, as you recall, I said earlier, the database itself, even though the leak is new, the database hasn't been updated in a few months. And we know from previous discussion on news, it would seem that NetherRealm Studios' plans have changed not too long ago. Things have shifted, and if Injustice 3 was the plan some months ago, it may no longer be the plan now. To that point, Mortal Kombat 12 is also on this list. Ever since their inception, NetherRealm Studios has never proven themselves to be a two-game studio. They work on one game at a time, right? So, as we had that discussion earlier, where Jeff Grubb brought up the fact that NetherRealm Studios' priorities have changed due to a lot of the merger stuff, and whatever game they were working on previously probably has been dropped from Mortal Kombat 12, because that's the safe bet. Well, hey, there you go. So perhaps at some point in the past, yes, Injustice 3 was the plan, but business being business, plans change. So for fighting games specifically, these are the big ones. But even though they are big, and this is technically the first time you're hearing about them, they're still very obvious, right? Of course there was going to be another Street Fighter. Of course there was going to be another Tekken. Of course there was going to be another Mortal Kombat. These in and of themselves are not shockers, but I guess it's nice and reassuring to know they're going to be coming at some point. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of other games that got leaked by this, right? This is probably the biggest leak in years. So let's talk some of the more interesting games that aren't fighting games in this leak. How about some Kingdom Hearts? Myself, personally, I'm not a big Kingdom Hearts fan, I'll be honest, right? But I know there's a lot of people that are super hardcore Kingdom Hearts fans, and well, Kingdom Hearts 4 is indeed on this list. Now, for games that are very near and dear to me, how about Dragon's Dogma 2? Now, we've already known about Dragon's Dogma 2 from the original Capcom leak last year, which is actually where we first heard about Street Fighter 6. But I just like seeing it because it makes it more real, right? Like, there's more confirmations coming. We already had it, but now there's more. I love Dragon's Dogma to death, so I can't wait. How about some Final Fantasy? What's everyone's favorite Final Fantasy? We all know what the best Final Fantasy game is, right? So let's say it all at once. Final Fantasy Tactics, right? You better have said Tactics, because that is the best Final Fantasy. And it says Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered. Now, just so you know, there's also a Final Fantasy IX remaster in that list as well. And I don't know if it's going to be in line with like how they remastered Final Fantasy VIII specifically a few years ago. And if so, honestly, that's totally fine. Just dress it up, make it look nice, make it better than War of the Lions was, because War of the Lions, in quote-unquote making it better, they kind of made it worse. But as long as there's anything new that says Final Fantasy Tactics on it, I'm all for it. And also, almost as good, Tactics Ogre Remaster as well. Stuff like a new Tomb Raider. Of course, there was going to be a new Tomb Raider at some point, but I'm always happy to play a new Tomb Raider game. And, well, frankly, there's just a lot, right? A lot. Another Gears of War game? Hey, you got it. Horizon Forbidden West, the next Horizon Zero Dawn game? Sure, yeah, I believe it. But I don't believe it to be anytime soon. I think it'll work under the same way the last one did, is that years later they put it on PC to get people the taste of the game, and now they'll have to buy PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 if they want to play the new game, because Forbidden West probably won't be on PC for at least 2 years after its initial release, right? GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas remasters, we've heard news about them before, but there we go. Titanfall 3, hey, that sounds good to me. New BioShock, they've been working on that for some amount of years, is my understanding. Bayonetta 3, well, hey, Bayonetta 2 was a Nintendo exclusive, but things have definitely taken way longer than they should have at this point. So who knows, maybe it'll be like Bayonetta 1, and it'll just go back on being on everything again. There's certainly a lot. I will provide a link to everything in the video description. Keep in mind, a lot of it's really boring and the list is really long. Like, how excited are you for Unannounced Card Game 2 from Square Enix, right? That said, it's all there, so search and maybe you'll find something very interesting. So once again, the links will be in the video description if you want to browse how all this came to be and all the stuff in the leak. It is the biggest leak in a very long time, to be sure. And for a lot of these, especially on the fighting game side of things, maybe they're not the biggest surprises, but confirmation is always nice. That all said, my friends, that's it for the video. So let me know what you think about the leak in the comments below. Any games you're excited about that it was mentioned in this leak, also post in the comments below. If you want to fight about Final Fantasy Tactics being the best Final Fantasy game, feel free to be wrong. You can post your wrong comment. I can't stop you, I guess, but Final Fantasy Tactics is the best Final Fantasy game. And all that said, hey, I guess we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play some of these fighting games whenever they're released, however many years from now.